Hi, this is Chuck Oliver. Welcome to this week's Hidden Wealth Solution Review. Well, spending a few minutes to save a fortune in unnecessary taxes. That's what I'd like to teach you. And go to taxessave.com, because what I want you to do is get a hold of some really good insights on actual clients, just like you, those of you watching this, that have learned how to not just trim their tax bill, but to eliminate their tax bill on their IRAs, their 401ks, as well as for those of you still working or have high income, drastically reduce your taxable income. So removing the tax on the money that you've saved that's not been taxed yet, and then getting rid of unnecessary taxes on the income that you're claiming. Let me give you a good example. I think of clients that we met with, two specific couples that jump into mind. One is a couple that had no idea that because of what the government starts forcing you to take out of your IRAs, 401ks, or if that's just your only income source because you grew up on the 401k and that's what everyone said to do, that you could then trigger, right, having to pay up to 85% of your Social Security being taxed, or if your income's too high also, and that doesn't have to be too high, but it can be too high, then having tax on your Medicare. So I think of that couple, and not only did they not know what they did know, they said, you know what, our advisor never talks about taxes. We kind of what you talk about, Chuck. We really only have a portfolio. We really don't have a holistic plan. Well, what they learned is the tax on the Medicare that they were going to face was going to be about $4,000 a year, and the tax on their Social Security, having up to 85% of it taxed because they didn't have a tax-free income plan, was going to cost them another $10,000 a year. All told, that was going to cost them about $1,200 a month that they now have learned to put back and keep in their pocket. But the big thing that they did, because the husband is coming up on required minimum distributions, he and the wife in a number of years, is they got their money out of the tax system that the government would have had the control over. Now they're in control. So they aren't going to be in the same tax bracket or pay as much or more taxes in retirement, like a lot of you didn't know what you didn't know, and you went to taxessave.com, and I'm going to teach you case studies where we put side by side the return and the technique, right? So the timing is that you've got the bosom buddy Musk and Trump a few weeks ago turning into arch enemies, right? Because Musk is saying it's disgusting abomination that this big, beautiful bill has even made its way out of the House going to the Senate, because it's going to just spend us into oblivion. And unfortunately, if we don't grow our way out of it, which is Trump's intent, Musk is right. So do you really want to gamble on who's wrong or who's right? Or would you rather just get your money out of the tax system, just like this couple? And I think of the other couple, and you're not going to believe this. This couple that was referred to as, they're in their late 30s. And for the $640,000 that they've saved in their 401k, if they don't put one more dollar in, not one more dollar, the amount of tax, it's actually over $28 million of tax over they and their young children's lifetimes. $28 million, folks, on a balance of $641,000 today. So whether you're in your late 30s, you're in your late 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, it's never too early, it's never too late to get a head start to be tax saving smart, folks. Go to taxessave.com. That's taxessave.com. When we talk about, like Musk's discussed, on raising our debt ceiling $5 trillion, or what if we don't grow our way out of this, how we're going to add trillions of dollars to our deficit over the next 10 years. Somebody's going to have to pay for that, folks. Or if you're a high income earner and or a heavy saver in IRA, 401k, whether you're trying to get to retirement or better through retirement, take advantage of this. And I'll leave you with this. We were actually censored by the media by an article or a subject line titled, "How to Roth Convert $1 Million." And when you go to taxessave.com, don't be censored on saving taxes, folks, because if you think the media can censor the message, imagine what the government's going to be able to do to censor your capability of being able to get your money out of the tax system. And you may not believe this, but by going to taxessave.com, click that red box with the white arrow, put in your quick information. I want to gift you the book, The New Holistic Retirement, where we talk about the micro and the macro. The micro being, we only have months before the tax rates could definitely jump up if this Tax Cuts and Jobs Act doesn't get extended. And the macro is the legislative tax risk rule changes that they can change the rules right out from underneath us. So while you know what you know, and before the economy turns around, and why tax rates are low, and why the rules still permit it, get yourself out of the tax system. I'll teach you two case studies there, and it's pretty quick. It's like 25 minutes. And by registering and going through that case study, I want to gift you that book, The New Holistic Retirement. the micro and the macro of how to remove taxes from your retirement to secure your retirement, folks, because retirement's changed. Then I'd like for you to do is drop down into the middle of that taxessave.com site, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's one, and then there's a library of episodes of short little 5 to 7 minute case studies of the techniques that we can teach you to remove your serious retirement savings and not being censored by protecting your savings from taxes. Folks, you work hard for your money. Taxessave.com, taxessaved.com.